Then we have the next presentation by Viktor Naumov, who will share about the latest updates in RIPE Atlas, and not only there. Thank you, Igor.
Dear friends, I would like to greet you on behalf of R&D, NCC, and I would like to discuss our instruments that we offer to you. First of all, I would like to discuss RIPE Atlas. That's the most representative part because I work on TKN. What RIPE Atlas is, perhaps you've heard of it and perhaps you've tried to use it already. It's a network of active measuring devices. There used to be small boxes that you could connect to your network for measurements. Presently, more than 1,000 pilots in all the world. We're trying to have good geographical coverage and also network coverage. The original idea was to have as many autonomous systems and prefixes as possible. In Ukraine, we have 172 pilots or tests active at this point. And in addition to those tests, we also engage so-called anchors, more powerful tests of pilots, to use with be used with more measurements, much more measurements, and to measure other tests or other anchors. There are 7 of them in Ukraine alone. So, at this point, we have the probes. We have another platform, a new one, because the old hardware was being decommissioned, and we were looking for something more accessible and less expensive, perhaps. And the devices that wouldn't have the same disadvantages as their predecessors. For example, USB stick falling out and can be lost or considered as lost if you do not revive it as a user. The new hardware is mono-PI, processes without using a USB stick or USB card. It has enough flash memory on board, and we have so far experienced no problems with the defects of the accumulator. The first batch of the probes is distributed, and now we expect that for RIPE rating we'll have another batch of such probes. We can read about that on our site in more detail. I have already discussed this service of anchor service or anchor hosts. They used to be just hardware platforms from the 19-inch rack with a specific hardware and configuration, and that was quite challenging to dispatch it to different countries. We decided to make them virtual machines. The anchor hosts, we have 142 such virtual hosts, and we place virtual anchors at Amazon. We're trying to work with Google currently for their data centers. And if you want to participate and deploy such a virtual anchor with your systems, please, you're welcome to apply. Here's the link, and you can get more information and leave your application, leave your order with there. We also switched your RAP Atlas to API, and now we can use it more easier with other interfaces. And the capacity with a new architecture like Kafka, we remove the old measurements from the databases and store them with HBase or Elasticsearch for better search opportunities using different measurement parameters. And so we are developing. The latest trend that is now being researched very actively, the probes which are not software, not hardware, but software. We decided to create a virtual machine, but then we decided to in favor of a package for Linux or any other system, operational system. And by RIPE meeting, we plan to present such a package, but it is going to be for CentOS. We use it inside RIPE NCC, and we have more expertise for this system. And if you are interested in developing a package for your favorite operational system of ENG or some other that will support the community, collect patches, maintain, and we can provide support in that endeavor, and we'll be happy to do so. Other changes. Now we are supporting DNS cookie and DNS measurements, but through API is not available for this. We recently, last summer, had another security review that was done, first of all, in the light of the new start of the virtual probes developments, and we want to try to copy measurements for Atlas, for the clouds, to use Google BigQuery, and we all want all the statistical content to be on CDN service, placed on CDN service. And you know, the IXP country JEDI, IXP country JEDI. It was presented a long time ago, still topical. I would like to remind you of its essence. This is used for the measurements from probe to probe, and we can see the proportion of traffic between prefixes, autonomous systems, so leaving the country and going through IXP. So we can see the peering and work of providers and local resources inside the country. Another instrument is IP map, our own way of geolocation. This geolocation is not for the final end users address, but for the infrastructure. And with this toolkit, we can actually use several geolocation engines. At this point, we use The engine measuring distances based on RTT. If you want to geolocate some address, the engine chooses the probes in that location. We have ping measurements with RTT and coordinates identifier. And with this instrument manual with crowdsourcing, we can clarify input and clarify geolocation for specific addresses. So we can now with Traceroute we can visualize network topology, latency, and in simple plain English, this is Traceroute. Traceroute that is made up of a multitude of probes. Another instrument is similar and uses the same data as JEDI, but in a more condensed and informative way, visualize information on a specific country, specific jurisdictions, transit providers, the size of the networks, scales of the networks for Ukraine also. That is available, I suppose. RIPESTAT is developing. We cooperate with other RIRs. The analog was developed for APNIC. With other RIRs, we plan to work in that direction. UI concept, new concept was created for RIPESTAT. For mobile devices, it's readily available. Support of RPKI validation, RPKI story, RIPESTAT. The number of users is growing exponentially. More than 70 million calls. With the scalability, there were some issues, but we solved them successfully. It's very operational indeed, and great feedback on RIPESTAT. Other projects, RIS Live, Oleg discussed it yesterday, and we wanted to make it, think about making it a production service, but we are going to do that. Most likely we will announce that on RIPE 17 at RIPE 79, and there we can in real time follow the BGP stream. We also invite the researchers to work with our data, because we have the scarcity of resources, not enough for processing of such a big data, based on probes. So we invite out people from the outside. You can use our measurements, make reviews, overviews, interesting toolkits. You're welcome to it. Thank you very much. I would like to thank you for your support of RIPE Atlas network, first of all, and also with the probes, the ones who had probes installed and lost. Please check the status, especially for the probes where you use the USB stick. Try to reanimate it. So I'll be happy to help you with it. Questions? Questions? Taras. A couple of questions to you. One question: what if somebody decide to use it? Should they apply to use this thing? The virtual probes, you mean? Yes, no. We cannot adjust it to all possible devices. We have no resource. We have just sent us package. We offer it. You offer it full, with all the necessary inputs, and you have to. It's a do-it-yourself kit. We would like to be more organized, to maintain some package. But you have the maintainer system, and second, as an idea, each probe is related to some kind of person, email, because you get the points for that, some kind of score. So if a probe is dead, can you look it up? Yes, we can, because sometimes users use some material that they do not check, or they have. Thank you. Thank you, Viktor. Thank you very much for your presentation.